Hello, welcome back to Sweet and Spicy Podcast. My name is Kate.
And I'm Cecily. And today, I still haven't come up with words to describe this, so we'll just dive right in. This book is a 5, all to spice. So spice.
What is the book?
So, I don't know about y'all, but I am really bad about reading the freaking web novels that you pay for, get coins for.
Yup, I know what book this is now.
So, I'm really bad about that, and I get addicted, and then I end up doing it, and then I regret life. I have tried to, find them, in full. So, there's one I've kept seeing, because, as we know, I am a monster lover, apparently. Just admit it and feel better about yourself. So, I have a lot of monster books. And I kept seeing this one, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's, a tentacle on the door.
Can't.
Test subject. You'll see. Anywho.
Cecily will add it in the YouTube.
It's on the Galatea app. Galatea.
Mm-hmm.
Galatea. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's on that app.
And is how I say it.
Well, there's no N, so I don't know why you're saying it like that. Galatea. No, there is no N.
I could have swore there was an N in it.
Nah, there ain't no N.
Can you tell that I also used to read on this?
There ain't no N. So anywho, those are the episodic stories where you get a piece at a time. Okay? This one has been haunting me because it's all about how she has to go through all these doors and take what's behind the door before she can get to the final door. If you pick it up what I'm putting down. So triggers, monsters. Big old peens. Biggins. Giant ones.
Oh, is this one the one that I texted you and I was like, it's pain leveling?
Yes. This is the one I told you. I was like, oh my god, I found it. I have to read it. The ad for this has been haunting me, and I don't even know if I knew that, thought I would like it so much as I just have seen the ad so many times. I wanted to know what freaking happens. So,
you know what's really funny? Is that ever since that you started reading it, I have stopped getting the ad.
The heck. So anywho, for your information, you can purchase both book 1 and book 2 of Test Subject by Tami, Tami. I don't even know if that's a real name or a fake name, but you can purchase both of them on Kindle and have them in your possession. I will warn you. Because this is our first full-fledged 5. Because I didn't know what else to give it. Because we got group. We've got big freaky creature. And we're talking everywhere. Just nasty.
Is it extra kinky too?
I mean, I feel like the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. I don't know. We're going to go on a journey. So, the book, and we're talking homegirl is leveling up on them dicks, in days. So, let's just start from the beginning, shall we? You have been warned. If you don't want to hear about monsters...
she's going through a couple levels a day.
No, not exactly. She can't, but listen, if you don't want to hear about some weird science, alien... supernatural creature boning the S out of a female who's very willing and happy participant, then next episode. But if you are a depraved individual,
can I log off?
No. If you are a mildly depraved individual who has cat-like curiosity, welcome and enjoy. So the book opens immediately, and it starts with Cat Woods, or Catherine Woods. She is a xenobiologist, which I looked up and is actually the study of extraterrestrials, which I feel should be a little bit of a clue, but I don't know if it's a clue or an oops. Because it talks about her being a xenobiologist, and she's got a little frog that she's supposed to euthanize before her next test, and it's in her hand. But she feels bad for the thing. And he, jumps on her hand and looks at her, and, she feels like he could tell she's about to off him. So she like pets him, which this part disgusted me because I'm not a frog person. I don't like frogs.
Cecily hate frogs.
I'm anti-frog. Anti-frog. A frog on me, I will scream like a little girl.
So if you ever meet Cecily in public, please give her gummy frogs.
No, don't. No, don't. I can't control
For my entertainment.
I can't control what my face does. So if you want a pleasant interaction with me, don't do that. So,
For
anyway.
my entertainment only, please just give her gummy frogs.
No, absolutely not. Disgusting. So, she like pats his head. She's like, I don't want to do this. And he just kind of looks at her and croaks. But then she's like, you know what? And she takes a box, puts some holes in it, takes him inside. She smuggles him out of the office to a park. She doesn't kill the little frog. Aww. She gets a text about some guy like, last night's amazing. You're a sick chick. Can't wait to F you again. That's so hot. She deletes the message because it was a one-night stand and the guy doesn't understand that she's not into relationships or friends with benefits. She's starting to think she's asexual because she's very interested in sex, but she's never felt any pleasure. And last night was no exception.
So, if she's interested in it, though, then that doesn't make
That doesn't really make sense for asexual. But she's just saying...
No.
I want...
romantic, maybe.
Well, no. She wants good boning. She wants that good stuff.
Okay.
But she's not... Like, what she's getting is not what she wants.
Okay.
She calls it falling asleep hungry. And that the only pinnacles, if you've been watching Bridgerton this season... The only pinnacle she reaches is by her own two hands.
I feel like you're calling me out subconsciously on this podcast.
I am. You need to finish. Justin and I will finish this evening. And honestly, we ought to do a special episode. Nah, I see what you did there.
That's not the podcast to say that on.
We should do like a special episode with his commentary because it's amazing. Anywho,
Okay.
at lunch, everyone's talking about all their successes, and they're like, what about you, Catherine, anything? And she's like, no, maybe you're not catching management's attention. They start talking about some woman who was so striking, like pretty, and got so much attention. She got a super secret promotion down in the lower levels for real work, but she's never returned. And they're like, what's the lower levels? Nobody knows. So immediately you're like, Well, this literally kicks off just... We're talking fast-paced. At the end of that same day, she's about to leave when she hears a voice call out to her. It's a security guy. It says, Mr. Sire wants to talk to you. She's like, what kind of stupid name is that? So they go down in an elevator, like, down, 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 down. She's like, looks like I'll get to see those super secret levels. So she's like, so who's Mr. Sire? Security guy looks at her like she's crazy. Your boss? She's like, my boss is Mr. Rudens? I don't know who Mr. Rudens. I don't know who Mr. Sire is. So they don't say anything. She gets down there. There's like a creepy hallway. She gets to a door. And the guy's like, go inside. And a voice calls out, like, come in. And there's a man there, very tall, like 3 heads taller than her. And he introduces himself as, I am Mr. Sire. You will not have heard of me, but I am the owner of this facility. And she kind of, like, looks at him and, you know, he's attractive, tall, muscular. She asks if she's done something wrong, and he's like, oh, no, I've been observing your work. I'm very pleased. And he basically says, you have an inquisitiveness to you that goes above and beyond to learn about your test subjects. But you also treat them with kindness, and he's like, and pity. She's like, I would say compassion. And he's like, I have an offer for you. You will work down here. You will have your own lab, your own funds, your own schedule. You can earn twice your salary. You'll have access to the best health care, all paid for by the company. You could even live here for free with servants obeying your every wish. Naturally, she's like, it's a joke. He's like, I can triple your salary. And then before she could even say anything, he goes, okay, quadruple, last offer. Which, I mean, hello. Quadruple my salary right now. Thank you.
Quadruple my salary. Please.
And she's like, that is way more than enough. And she wants to know why. Like, is it dangerous? And he's just like, your job has always been dangerous. And she goes by Cat. So she tells him to call her Cat. And he just kind of is like, a sting from an insect or bite from a snake and you'd be done for. You weren't bothered before. Well, what's different now? And she's like, well, with an offer like this, there gotta be a catch. So he's like, oh, there's a series of physical tests we have to run on you first and some questions that might be uncomfortable. And she was like, can I decline? And he said, of course, but I have a feeling you won't. And he kind of laughs. And she's like, is very much like, I feel like I should be leery of this, but I feel comfortable. It's something about his voice and his eyes, like not so his, whatever. So he directs her to go to this little clinic. And now she's in a corridor with lots of doors. And like there was a bang on one of them that made her scared. But she kept walking all the way down to the clinic. And there's a guy there who greets her. You must be Kat. I'm Richard. And she's like, he's well over 6 feet tall, but smaller than the boss. So these men are gigantic. So obviously those of us are all like, shifter alert or something. So they have to do a physical exam
based on the Xeno.
It doesn't really make sense to me, so I don't know if it's foreshadowing for later. So she gets, they ask if she has family, parents, siblings. She's all alone. And then any close.
Freaks me out when people ask those questions.
Do you have any family? Like, can anyone report you missing?
Yes.
Creepy. Any close personal relationships? Best friend, romantic? She has none of this. She's just a lonely little petunia in an onion patch. Asked if she has any illnesses, issues, blah, blah, blah. Then asks her if she's ever had sexual intercourse before. And she doesn't answer right away. And he's like, smiles at her. These are standard questions. Have you had, da-da. She's like, that's weird. And he told her some xenobiotics might smell certain pheromones, which could impact your work. So she is like, okay, they have creatures down here that can smell virgins, which we all know, yeah. So she's like, obviously, she's like, I have had sex before. And then he asked, what are your preferences? And she's like hetero or homo, which I thought was very funny. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but it was kind of funny to me. And then
she's like, is that what you mean?
No, that's not what she means. He means like example, and he's just like, well, I'm quite open, I guess. And then he asked what her limits were, and she's like, my limits? Like, yes, what have you done? What won't you do? And she's like, I don't know how this is. And he's like, if you'd like, I can tell you mine so it's not so weird. And I'm like,
so he's having a full BDSM conversation with her, of
an evaluation masked as a clinical
consent. Yeah, it's like, what consents do you give? What non-consents do you
Which
give?
I guess is a good thing.
With?
Yeah. I guess that's true. Points for communication. But when you're thinking about it from a job perspective, you're like, none of your business.
Oh,
HR
yeah, it'd be
violation.
Definitely creepy.
Yeah.
As hell.
So he tells her, hey, I'll tell you mine to make you more comfortable. He's like, I do not like pain inflicted on my body. Everything else is okay. I'm like, well, that's a lot. So she's like super awkward, and she's like, I don't really know my limits. I can't think of any right now. And she kind of whispers it.
Then again, a lot gets taken out with the pain thing, though.
So he was like, perfect. Have you ever had pain inflicted on you during intercourse? Yes. Did you enjoy it? Yes. Have you ever had anal? Yes. It gets very in-depth about what she enjoyed. And he's like, all right, thank you. We'll start the physical exam. And she gets in a thing that's like an Iron Maiden looking thing, is what she describes it as, but it's like shiny chrome, like a body. And he's like, you won't feel anything. It just gets a little warm. The exam is done. So while she's in there, there's a scanner. She feels a tickle on her forehead. It's going down her body. But then the tickling sensation is right there at a blue laser hitting right there between the lower extremities. And she's like, is this supposed to happen? Because this kind of feels good, But she's like, it's nice, but it's awkward. Because, That's like getting turned on if you go to the gynecologist. Embarrassing. So, I mean, if
To
you
be fair,
have,
that's definitely what they were trying to do to her, but
for sure, for sure. And then it like pauses and it stays there for a while. And he's like, there seems to be a malfunction. I will get that right away. And she's like shaking her head because it's like right there, and like it moves the legs wider. Um, and he's like, sorry, I need to reach somewhere. The laser's gonna keep going. Don't be surprised. But then as soon as she like opened her mouth, she felt something like a tug on her underwear, and like something brush over her down there under her undies. And she's like, what the heck? Finally, everything's done. She gets out. It's like, you passed. Questionnaire looks great. You can go back to Mr. Sire's office and sign the contract if you want the job. She kind of whispers to him, like, is this work dangerous? Why are they paying so much? He said, that's easy. We work with animals that can get aggressive if we don't treat them correctly. Also, this work is all very secretive. Nothing can go outside. Hence the questions about private lives, and Mr. Sire is kind and wealthy, so he likes to share. So he asks, she goes back to his office. He asks if she's made up her mind. She has to look at the contract. And then she skims through it. You know, no mention of the work, no visiting doctors outside the facility, no consulting lawyers. He said, these are all legal things I have to include. If anything happens during your work, you will receive better care here than anywhere else. We're specialized. And she's like, what does that mean? Because there's a clause that says there can be no legal steps taken against any intercourse that happens on the property. And he's like, just lawyer talk. And I'm like, that don't sound like lawyer talk.
there's no lawyer talk at all.
Like, that's very straight up. Like, what? So anywho,
Also, what if this woman had pets? Did they ask about that?
I'm assuming that somewhere in there it wasn't written, it wasn't mentioned.
I hope it's.
I don't know. This book is
Part of
wild,
it.
bro. And I'm like making sure I'm looking at it so I don't miss anything, because like I said, it's wild.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
she's like, what's the worst that could happen? Just before she signed, she's like, you said I could live here? Of course, your apartment will be right there. And he points to a door that she hadn't noticed before. He said, our living facilities have every amenity you could want. Access to a swimming pool, a wellness facility, a private sauna, a gym, should you need one. And she's like, what's that supposed to mean? So she looks forward, and then he like puts his hands on her. You worry too much, Miss Woods. I have chosen you for a reason. I'm never wrong. You will like your new work. In fact, I'm sure you will love it. And she feels like he sounds very smug the whole time. So finally, she's just like, you know what? Signs it. And he gives her like a drink, and it will help calm your nerves. And then he's like, now go on, little mouse. Work begins now. Go start testing your first subject. She's like, when she drinks the drink, she's like trying not to gag because it tastes disgusting. So he shoos her out, and Richard is there and is like, I'm happy you decided to stay, which of course makes her jump. He's like, I'll show you the changing room, because apparently the subjects are sensitive to certain clothing, so they provide clothes tailored to them. Each numbered locker corresponds to a test subject. Room will start with number 1, so if you're comfortable, please change in the clothes you find in locker room number 1. So she's like,
So
what exactly?
Is Mr. Sire the last level, or is he any of the levels?
I am not telling you yet.
Okay,
Each,
so yes, cool.
each numbered locker corresponds to a test subject room. Starting with 1, she's like, what exactly am I supposed to do? He told her, the first task is simple. You get acquainted with the subject until it's ready to have its blood taken. This will take some time. Our last specialist needed 3 weeks. So, like, the last person took 3 weeks to get level 1 to give up their blood. So she's like, okay. Inside, the first outfit is, like, hot teacher outfit. Black pencil skirt, white blouse. She's like, okay, everything fits perfectly. Well, maybe the low cut is a little more boob than I would do, but whatever. And Richard tells her, this is our very easiest subject, very docile. I'm sure you'll get the blood from it very soon. If you need anything, I'll be in the clinic. And then he goes, oh, and Kat, try not to scream when you first see the subject. Your mind will be blown, but rest assured, nobody in this room will harm you. So, like, that's her only warning. So she walks in, turns key, opens the door, gasps, almost drops the bowl. describes him as a monster. She's like, this is not possible. There was a drug in whatever he gave me. This looks like a demon. First monster is a huge humanoid demon. He's in the corner of the room. His hands are bound by 2 chains attached to the wall, and he has 2 horns on his head like antlers. Handlebars. He's kind of clutching his legs to his chest, all tucked in the corner. And she's first like, oh my god, but then she like actually looks at him and sees that his eyes are scared and broken. So she starts talking to him, telling him her name and that she's come to take care of you, and she doesn't know who he is, but I'm sure we'll get along fine. And she follows its gaze to the wall because she realizes it doesn't talk. And there's a file that says what he is, and he's an incubus. A spirit or demon of the night, said to impregnate sleeping women during their hour of sin in connection with the devil. Which she's like, there's no such thing as the devil. And the incubus is like happy and makes like a laugh. And it says that he's a male. It says he's a forest spirit, a Sylvan. And so then she's like, can I call you Sylvan? So she's like named him. And, you know, she's talking to him all these different things. So she's like looking at him, checking him out, kind of like examining him. And she's just kind of casually talking to him, like, how about I tell you something about myself? And she's like, you know, I just started this job. I don't even know if you're real or a hallucination. She's like, maybe I'm in a facility because I've gone crazy, which would be my thought process. And he even like laughs at her. And then she sees his teeth, and like he closes his mouth all nervous, but she's like, I don't mind. So he's like looking at her like she is wacky, because he's like, you're not afraid of me? And then she's like,
that's why it took the last one so long.
She's like, I've always been the odd one out. And he frowns, and she's like, not because of how I look, but as a kid, she was an orphan. As a teenager, she was a slut. Because she said she was looking for something to fill me, but I looked in the arms of strangers rather than myself. And as an adult, she's a weird scientist with crazy ideas, attracted to strange things. So he's all compassionate looking. And she, like, just levels with him. Like, I'm supposed to take your blood. And he, like, kind of is like, nope, but I want you to trust me first. Let's get to know each other. Then when you're ready, I'll do it. Which, you know, good idea. Here you go. So she just kind of sits there and talks to him for a long time. And then finally, he, like, loosens up and holds out his arm. But then she notices he's got bruises and scars. And she's like, who did this to you? And he points to her, and she's like, the person before me? And she's like, did they try to take your blood by force? And she gets mad and is like, that's unbelievable. Did the boss fire them? And she's like explaining to him, I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at them. They had no right to treat you like this. You know, no living being should be treated with such disrespect and brutality. And he like finally smiles at her, all sweet. And then he like accidentally scratches her, and he's upset, but she's like, it's okay. And then he finally stands up. And when he stands up, she's like, holy crap, he's massively tall. And he takes her hand that got cut and extends his tongue, and she finds herself very intrigued because it's split down the middle and each half can move independently. It's like, maybe I should be disgusted, but the scientist in me just wants to take notes. How does this work?
So essentially he has 2 working tongues, they just connect at the end. Okay.
Takes forked tongue to a whole new level.
I've heard this before in books.
So
It's not the most wild thing I've read.
He heals her little scratch, and then he takes a step back proudly, and he's standing up straight, and she is head level with his enormous penis. Like, hello, Dolly.
What color is he?
I believe he was red.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it said a color. I've gone too far.
You know, like, I immediately thought he was red, but maybe it's just not something.
Wow. It's like right there in her face, and she's like, shouldn't that be in a sheath or something? But it's very humanoid. The only difference is the size and a pointy tip instead of a round one. And then she's like, my thoughts are going in a not science direction. But now he's kind of staring her down, and then he's licking his lips with his little weird tongues. And she's like, this is crazy. I can't be hot for some monster. Can I? So then we go forward.
I think that he can, taste that maybe in the air that you're kind
Probably.
of into him.
Probably. So she's trying to shake it off, be professional.
He's an incubus?
Yeah. So she's like, should I tell you more about myself? He shakes his head. Do you want to hear about something else? No. And then he's like, what do you want to do? And he points to the syringe in his arm. And she's like, you want me to take your blood? And he's like, yep. Didn't the last person take a couple weeks? And he like nods again, because they hurt you. And then he nods and strokes his arm. So it's all very pantomiming. So she takes his blood. And then she blew on the skin to make it feel better. And he got goosey bumps. And she like even gave him a Band-Aid, even though like he heals. And then she's like been doing this half turn from him over his arm. But this time she feels his breath on her neck, and his body looms behind her. And then just when she's about to walk back to the table, she feels something on her bootay. His hand is stroking her. And then he stops, and when she doesn't move, he keeps going, and then she feels the rest of him rubbing against her. And she's like, oh my god, I'm getting turned on. This is so messed up. And she looks towards the door, but so he knocks on the door and shows that it's soundproof, like there's no noise. And she's like, so they wouldn't hear us if we got loud. I should not be thinking that. But then she felt him pulling her skirt up, and then turns her throat, grabs her by the throat to turn her head to look at him. And it's all very like, oh dang. Like, we're in chapter 4, y'all. Which these are very short chapters, because it's like those episodic things. Yeah. So, next thing you know, he comes in for a kiss, and then, both tongues are checking out her throat. And she's like thinking, now I know why this outfit makes Sylvan Calm easy access. Do they know this? And then she's like, I don't care. So they go to town, since we're trying to be more PG, which is very difficult with this book. They have themselves a time. And she gets to learn all about Sylvan and his anatomy and what it does to her. How about that? So she's sitting there, and she's like, oh my god, there's no way that's gonna fit inside me. Well, it sure does.
Is it bad that you're making me actually want to read it because I'm morbidly curious?
It is a morbidly curious read. So she basically claps and is like, oh my god. And then she's like, I can't put that in my mouth, which she does. And she doesn't end up gagging. And so she's just kind of laying there like, oh my god.
That's what the medicine was for.
You catch on so quickly. So she takes the sample and leave, and she's like, this can't happen again. But he just smirks and lips his licks, and then extends his tongues to lick down at his own self. So she hurries up to the room, puts on a different shirt, and tries to fix herself. And she walks into the office, and Mr. Sire goes, Miss Woods, you're fast. And she's like, deer in headlights. But he's like, the blood. And then he was like, you have a nice color today, looking at her cheek. Did you have a hard time taking the blood? And she's like, yes. And he's like, I see, the incubus is one persistent fellow, isn't he? And she feels like he knows, but like, that can't be. So he's like,
he does know, because he is orchestrating this.
And he's like, I'll leave you to it. You'll meet number 2 tomorrow. And don't worry, everything will clear up eventually. So she can barely walk. She goes home. She goes in her little apartment. It's 10 times bigger than her other apartment. And everything's been brought there for her and labeled. And she's like, I don't even have the energy to think about this. And she just falls asleep. She's like, it almost feels like he rearranged my insides.
Medicine.
And she can't eat anything because her whole stomach still feels very full of him. Anywho, so she woke up very excited after an intense dream about Sylvan. Still can't eat. And Mr. Sire hands her a glass, says, "You know the drill." And she's like, "It's blue now. And it tastes sweeter." And he said, "Each beverage is tailored to match each subject. And since you will meet subject number 2 today, you will need a new drink. Good luck with number 2. I'm sure you will find him chattier than the last." So
That's why it's medicine tailored for monster. Does she ever go back to the other ones, or is it just like a one-off thing?
Hold your horses. So in this one, she goes in and she has like this Middle Eastern outfit, and she's like, "What the heck?" With like a skirt bra thing. And then Richard has to do it examined every time. So he's like, "I received the blood. I'm on how quickly you got that one bonked off your list." And he's very cooperative. And then she has to get in the machine again. And he's like, "I fixed it, but you will still need to be strapped in place, so don't worry." And then she felt the tickle, even though he said it was fixed. And then she's like, "Maybe it's just phantom twinges." All done. And he's like, "I'm sure you'll finish number 2 quickly as well." Well, number 2, I'm going to skip ahead because I realize I am like, la la la. It's a djinn. A genie, if you will.
Okay.
And he's blue, a la Aladdin. And his name is Mehdi. And he, when she goes in, she asks him his name, and he's like, "Nobody has ever asked me that." And when he says it, she goes, "Guided to the right path." And now his jaw drops because she knew the meaning of his name, because when she was younger, she had a whole thing about names. And so he's very happy that she's there. And then he's like, "Since you have shown both Sylvan and me the gentle side, I want to give you something back." And she's like, "You know that I named him Sylvan?" And he's like, "Oh yes, I know many things. I know it all." And then she's like, "Oh." And then she was like, "What do you want to give me?" He said, "Advice, amongst other things. Don't believe a single thing. They've been lying to you. I'm sure you guessed as much. But rest assured, nobody wants to do you any harm. You can trust Mr. Sire. He's a good people, but you shouldn't trust his words. They say one thing, but what they mean another." And she's like, "What do they want me for?" And he's like, "It'd be too easy to tell you that." So basically, he has phantom powers to use his anatomy on her without him doing anything. So it's like lots of things at once. And he's all like, "Come here and I'll make you scream like never before." And she's like, "What the heck?" He's like, "Don't think I didn't see what you did with the incubus. I can go even longer than he did." So that's door number 2. And then with his little magic, he does this whole thing where she can't pinnacle until like he's got her full of himself, how he wants. So anywho, they have a high old time. And then
So she got edged.
yeah, like a lot. So you know, they get that done, and then he gets the blood. She gets his blood too. And
Okay, so is her task just to get their blood?
that's what we know currently.
Okay.
And
I feel like she
then
also has to get the yin and that's the whole point here. But
he shows her a secret. Those things in the corner of the room, they're not bugs or dirty spots. And she's like, "Cameras? Are they watching?" And he's like, "Who knows? Maybe, maybe not." So now she's like, "Oh my God, people are watching me." So he liked her a lot, and he's like, "Do me a favor, stay here. Do as they say and stay here. I'm fond of you, and I can't wait to see what you do with the others." She's like, "Do you think I have to sleep with all of them?" And he's like, "I think you know the answer to that." And she's like, "Is that why I'm here?" He's like, "Oh no, the reason is still the blood, but I'm sure they chose such a treat for a reason." So then she like does a really good kiss with him, and he's like, "Oh, is that for?" And she's like, "I wanted to thank you, and then I need some material for my dreams tonight," and walks out the door. I'm like, "Oh dang." So she goes to Mr. Sire's office. He's like, you're successful again. And she's like, impressive. And then she's like, may I ask you something? What exactly is your job here? So he tells her that he leads an international business, and the results they get from the test subject blood to help millions of people. You're doing a very important duty for humankind, which sounds like a PR pitch. So she's like, but what are you doing? Like, let's get to the roots, the main stuff. He said, I'm keeping my subjects where they belong, so hurry off, go to your apartment. And she's like, does this mean I'm a subject too? So anyway, that night, she's wearing the lingerie that was stocked there, and then she's just, like, still aroused. I don't know pleasanter words for that. That's PG. That's the best I got. So she whispers the genie's name, and next thing you know, an invisible hand is there, and so she feels like a body, and you know, she gets it all night long too. So it's like, good Lord, woman. Then when she walks in the office, did you have a good night's rest, Miss Woods? Mr. Sire asks. And she nodded, and then he looks at her, and then he's like, you know, I don't like dishonest people, so I'll give you another chance. Did you have a good night's rest? And she's like, I didn't. And he's like smiling, and then, you know, please drink. So then he sees she's going to test subject number 4 today. I'm like, what happened to 3? She's like, you will not need to take that blood. You're ready for number 4. And she's like, okay. And then he's like, are you afraid of the dark? She's like, no. Are you afraid of wild animals? She's like, no. Very good. For your own safety, press the button next door before entering. Otherwise, you'll be greeted with violence. So it's pitch black dark. She goes in, and it's a werewolf. But like a shifted werewolf. Like he can't shift back into humanoid form. So, sad thing. And she's like, how am I supposed... It's like a big old werewolf.
How they would... Like how they describe lichens, or he's like a full-on...
No, he's like 4-legged werewolfy, not 2-legged creepy lichen. So anyhow...
So he's a wolf. Like full wolf.
But big, like a were.
I don't know if I like this one.
Yeah, that was a little icky, personally. So she's like petting him, he's happy and affectionate and stuff, and then she's like checking him out and stuff, and then she's like trying to figure out what he is, and she's like, you can howl, but you're not a wolf, and when I asked what you are, you pointed to me. Oh. She's like, a werewolf? And then, next thing you know, the chains, like, she hears a click, and the chains are free, and then the thing, just kind of attacks her. So, but she likes it. It's all good in the hood. So anywho, that was door number 4.
Yeah, that one doesn't sound...
Yeah, that was not like, you know, a genie with powers is one thing. A demon, but once you start crossing it
before.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. That's why I tried to be like, is it a lichen at least? Because at least that's like weird humanoid-y kind of... Nope, full wolf.
Nope.
Yeah, no, it's weird for me. It's weird for Cecily. I know that some people are into it, but to me it's too close to bestiality, and it's weird to me.
Anywho, so she's like, oh my god, and then
I'm not going to yuck your yum, but...
She sees the camera, and then she's kind of like, what the heck? And she's like, goes and changes, and then she's like, she gets pissed off, because she's like, that thing could have killed me. Why did the chains malfunction? Because the other 2 were securely chained to the wall. So she stomps into his office, like, waiting for me. And she's like, he's like, you have not taken the blood. And I scoff. She's like, and you know that how? And he's like, because you did not bring a syringe. And she's like, stop freaking lying to me. She's like losing her stuff. She's like, I know you've been watching. I know you know what the subjects are doing to me. And she's like, I need to know what's going on here. And so then he's like, you're right. Everybody before you knew that they were being surveyed, but you're the only one has confronted me about it. And she's like, so you've been lying? And he said, only because the truth would be too confusing for almost anyone to accept. But I think I could make an exception with you. And she's all like, I didn't mean to yell. I was angry. I didn't get the blood. I didn't even think of it. He said, I know. Nobody ever gets that blood. Then why did I have to go in there? And he's like, because of this. And he pulls up the video of her with the genie yesterday. She's like, you've been watching everything? And he's like, of course, this is what I do. I need to see how my subjects interact with each other. So I'm a subject as well. My most promising one. He said, the blood is important, but the most important thing, the reason why I chose you, is the semens.
Like I said.
So they're trying to save the last individual of a very, very precious species. He would do anything necessary to achieve the goal. Previous research has shown the blood of monsters can create a special concoction, enabling humans to endure a lot of pain. This will be necessary to survive the mating with said species. She's like, okay, but what's the other stuff for then? He's like, Richard has found that is more potent than the blood. He has an idea to make the breeding completely painless, but we need to perform our experiments and find out for sure. She's like, but I only bring you the blood, not the other. And he's like, so you think the tickle in the machine is just your imagination? She's like, you're taking samples? And he's like, not a lot, but enough. Well, her inner scientist kicks in. She's like, well, if you wait for the next day, a lot of it's gone. You should take it right away. And he's like, she startles him. And she's like,
wait, you're into this?
He was like, we could do that naturally. It was just more justifiable to do it every morning. She's like, sure, I understand, but now that I know, we can do it right away. And then she just waltzes out to Richard.
Richard!
And he's like, why do you want to help so willingly? We've been using you without your knowledge, and yet you've decided to improve the process. She's like, you wanted to save the last individual of species, and if all that takes is me having the effing best sex of my life, well, so be it. Which, I mean, kind of valid.
Okay,
So
the boss is the thing that needs to get saved, obviously. With how tall he is, I'm assuming he's some kind of, like, shiftery thing.
So
I think you have told me.
I'm going to speed up now, and we'll get to that real quick.
I think you've told me, and I'm not going to spoil it, but...
So Richard was not in the clinic, and she's like, I'm no expert here, but you know, she's like, I guess you're not human judging your physique. She's like, that trace amounts would linger, but the werewolf does not. I don't know if there'll be enough for tomorrow. So she basically has him like syringe it out of her, cause yeah. So, and then they talk about why he picked her for a reason, because she's sexually frustrated. We have ways to track down, you know, people to find ones who might be open to this. And he's like, women who remain sexually unsatisfied are of interest. And then we take a look at those who have certain preferences. And he's like, you don't aim for a relationship, but just, you know, the business, but you've never been satisfied. You've tried everything. And she's just like, how do you know all this? He's like, I know a lot. All I need is a drop of your blood and you're all mine. And then she's like, you chose me because I had a lot of crazy experience and no satisfaction. Yep. Just casual conversation. So anyhow, this is how things go. And then she's like, well, wait, what about number 3? She goes back to that. And basically the doors are in order because she wouldn't survive without each one. And the drink that he's giving her is helping her body adjust and everything and not be damaged. So number 3, she said we lost that subject, but there's no replacement. We put the werewolf behind 4 because he used to be number 6. But it's all very safe for you now, and if you keep taking the drinks, you'll be fine. And then she was all, I'll take anything you give me, because she's decided now that she's like into him. And the incubus is first because his tongues are stretchy. Like, they stretch things. So yeah, he has her like syringe it out of her. And she's like, oh my gosh. And then she asks about door number 5 because he won't tell her, like, keeps it a surprise. And
Yeah.
he's like, you'll be fully satisfied, I'm sure. She's like, will you be watching again? And he raises an eyebrow. If you don't feel uncomfortable, and she's like, do it, watch me. So now it's all like hella kinky right now, is all I know what to tell y'all. Hella kinky.
I understand why this is a 5 now.
You do, don't you? So we get to door number 5. Door number 5, there are 3 drinks because there is like this pixie creature. But guess what? The pixie creature can replicate himself and grow full size. So he turns into 3. So she has fun there. And then she has a day off because she's done such a good job, and door number 6 is a tough one, so you're going to need all your strength. So she doesn't know what to do with herself, so she's deciding to swim. And this, I did mention a trigger of sorts, because I didn't think about it because it wasn't human. Kind of sexual assaulty here, so.
Oh.
But it's weird, because she's, like, not bothered by it, which is weird, in a way. Anywho, she hears a sound while she's in the pool. Next thing you know, something grabs her, takes her down into the water. And it's like this big pink tentacle monster. It's like a jellyfish monster. It's 6 arms. And it grabs her, is holding her against the floor, and, just doing it. So she's like freaking out because she's trying to figure out if she's drowning or not, but she doesn't know. And then she just kind of closes her eyes. But the next thing you know, she's awake and is coughing out water. And Mr. Sire there. By the way, his first name is Des. Des Sire. Desire. He's there. They were not in the office, so they weren't watching her. When she's like, wait, you have cameras in my apartment too? What the heck? Mm-hmm. So, he's like, you were drowning, being held down by subject number 3. And she's like, how is that possible? Apparently because it could change its shape. It found a hole in its pool and escaped into the water system and has been hanging out. And then when she got into her pool, it smelled her and decided to do what it was created for. I had no idea it would kill you, and with none of us around, nobody could stop it. And she's like, oh my God. And then that's when she realized the cameras are there. And he talks about how he can, like, scan people because he touches them and stuff. But, like, he saves her, and she's all flirty with him. And then it's just kind of, like, it doesn't really address it too much. Like, she just kind of gets over it. But in the second book I'm trying to read, because it gets weirder, y'all. She does mention kind of a little bit of trauma from it. So,
So it's like right now it's kind of shock in her being like, I'm
Yeah.
not dead, but I almost died. And okay.
But then she's also kind of crazy, because then that night she goes and has some fun with the genie, and she lets the genie out, and the genie can use magic to look like anybody. So she has him look like Mr. Sire. And he's like, oh, that's what happened. He killed it because it hurt her. Mm-hmm. So, the next morning, she's like now just officially whatever with all of this. She just strolls in completely naked. Just like not even bothering with clothes. Here's your potion. And then he asked her, he was looking at his computer awkwardly, which means he saw her with the genie pretending to be him. So he's like, hold up. And he's like, did you have a good night? And she's like, it was almost perfect, but not quite the real thing, you know? And it's just like, the heck? Door number 6.
So she didn't even put on the outfits or anything that they had
she
specifically
just
for
went
these
out.
creatures. Okay.
Yep. The next room is
I guess
like,
she's like, I don't have to get blood no more, so.
the next room is like a ogre with like the tusks and things, and he's all about like Ogre just likes to F, so let's go. So, there you go. She has fun with that. And then,
Obviously, there's no, like, worry about her getting pregnant from these species. Evidently.
no, that's not an issue. And then the genie shows up disguised as Mr. Sire again, and, like, she gets to have both. And then he actually carries her out because, you know, she was so... He carries her to Richard and he's like...
not stuck in his room at all.
No, not at all. So he carries her in there and he's like, you ain't gonna need the machine. Just put a cup under her. Yeah, like 500.
He said, here, I'll tip, you just hot catch.
For all my science people, 500 milliliters is what's written. I feel like that's a lot, but I don't know.
Did you just say 500 milliliters?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Do you have a bottle or a can next to you?
I'm an American.
Do
Oh!
you have a bottle or a can next
This
to
is
you?
355.
Yup.
That's okay. I have been metriced. Wow.
That's why I said, did you have a can or something? Listen, American labels have ounces usually, but they also have
It does. It
milliliters.
does. I see it. Holy crap. Anywho, so,
Yup.
you know, there's like casual conversations and different things, and she has more drinks because 7's a lot. And but what's
7?
fascinating is she's being changed with the monster magic, and she's like basically turning into a shapeshifter. So every monster she's with, her organs like shapeshifter. But
That's
like the
cool.
rest of her will eventually shapeshift as well.
What's number 7?
Door number 7. Door number
You got me
7.
really good. Like,
He's like this weird rock monster. Honestly, all I could think of was the
okay.
trolls from Frozen.
oh, when you said rock monster, all I thought of was like Onyx from Pokemon.
I thought of the trolls. He's like, but he is, because he is a stone troll. So, yes, he's a stone troll. And, he's very, like, you know, whatever. And, like, but his magic can change things. So, she has a stone troll. And then, let's see, the next door number 8. Oh, she also is in the office with him kind of chatting, and like he touches her and it like warms up her skin, and he's like, that was supposed to burn you or would hurt you, and she's very confused because it doesn't burn her, hurt her. So they're all like teasy touchy stuff. Next door number 8 is a centaur. A giant centaur.
That's like your cup of tea, but okay.
Not really.
Mm-mm. No.
Mm-mm.
I have a couple words for you. Morning glory. Milking farm.
But those were minotaurs.
That is essentially a centaur.
It's the 4-legged thing that gets me.
Yeah.
It just makes it feel very animal.
Yeah, that's
But then
fair.
if he didn't have that, he wouldn't be.
To be fair, in my brain, when you said centaur, I thought of minotaur, not centaur. And then you just elaborate, and I was like, ooh, nope. No, that one is a little weird. That's a horse.
So,
okay. Yeah, no, that is a little weird.
He's
At
got
least there's humanoid parts on him.
He is. He's very intelligent. Has good conversation. So there's that. So
Are centaurs insects?
Why would they be insects?
They have 6 limbs.
But they aren't
They
anything
have
else.
4 legs and 2 arms.
But nothing else makes them an insect. They give birth to live young and have hair.
Some
therefore
insects
a mammal.
do too.
I don't know.
Not all snakes
I'm not the
give
science
birth
one.
to, I mean, snakes have live birth too.
So, with Lazarus, the centaur, she really starts to test the limits of her shapeshifter guts and asks him to stick it inside of her mouth so far it comes out the other end. Scientifically impossible, but with magic and guts that move around to accommodate, it's possible.
I don't like that it's possible.
I don't like it either. So, anywho, he kind of talks to her, and she's like weirded out because she feels at home. Then she decides after that night to open doors 1 and 4 with the djinn. So, or wait.
She went back to the werewolf again?
Yes. She opens the door to 1 and 4, the chains to 1 and 4. She gets Sylvan, and she takes him to door number 8 with the centaur, which is like same night. And then they go to the werewolf's room, and he's like, are you sure about this? And she's all excited, and they just have, a whale of a time. But then the next morning, she goes in the office, and Mr. Sire is pissed off because what she did, and apparently she broke the rules because she invited him to his apartment. She's like, I didn't know about that rule. And then he's like, there's a reason number 4 is chained, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, bro, you let the chains loose before. So it was like a whole thing.
So he's more mad that she could have gotten hurt.
Yes, he's very upset. And then she's just like, give me the potion. And, oh, he said the mission was the most important thing. So that pisses her off. Like, he doesn't care about her. And so she's big mad. And he's like, I'm just very confused by this emotion. And she's like, I want to take on number 9, so give me the dang potion. Let me take the effing magic drink so I can get effed by the next monster. We can move on to 10, and then I'm out of here. And he's like, I doubt you will leave. And he's like,
okay,
she's
so
like, well, what if I
10 of them,
refuse?
There's not.
And
There's
she's
not
like,
more
well,
than
if you do that, your body will yearn for the feeling. Your organs will cry out in pain. You will die if you don't get the seed from number 10. And if you don't drink this, number 9 will hurt you. So all you would do is hurt yourself just to rebel against me. So she gets pissed off, walks in, is mad. And she's like, hi, but she's just grabbed. And it's 2 giant freaking minotaurs.
There they are.
But they are not like sweet talky minotaurs. They're just big grunty minotaurs with like
They're rough.
big old things. And
okay, they're more bull than humanoid. Got it.
yes, they're more bull than humanoid. Like his thumb covers her whole belly big. So the magic, they have magic though that actually
How
makes
small
her.
is this human?
I figure she's average, but they do have magic that like makes her grow. It does talk about that. So they like make her grow and put her back. And that's the whole shapeshifter stuff taking over. So anywho, she gets to do the minotaurs, and then she completely ignores Mr. Sire, and then like slams her front door and all that, and she like goes in this, she's like, this place is a prison. She's kind of upset, kind of mad. And then, it's the last species, and she goes there, and she's like, I've been naked for days, but then she feels vulnerable, so she puts on, like, clothes, but they're still, like, very short clothes. So she goes to the last door, which, the different ones, all the doors are open. Everybody's watching her. It's like the freaking Death March. everybody's watching her, which the genie's like, oh, by the way, because her name is Cat, the genie calls her Kitty. So he's like, do me a favor and survive, will you, Kitty? We've all grown to like you. It'd be such a waste to see you go now. So
obviously, normally when the sacrifice gets to that last door, they die.
Nobody has been successful.
So even the werewolf door was open?
Yes, he's chilling by the door, whining at her when she walks by, and she's like, don't worry, I'll come back and cuddle you. And then he wags his tail.
Okay, so he's stuck as a wolf. Poor bud.
And then the ogre, pixie, stone troll, and minotaurs, they don't really react because they're not really, like, as sentient humanoid. Which the centaur is like, those minotaurs were nothing compared to what you'll face now. Don't take this lightly. Did you drink all of your potions? Did you sleep with every monster here? And she's like, some even twice or more. Just don't hesitate to express your feelings. Number 10 is an intelligent beast. It will understand. She's like, I'll be all right. And then Richard is there and he's like, I'm sure you will. Nobody has ever come this far. If there is one to succeed, it's you. And then she tells Richard, if I don't make it out, release the beasts who don't want to stay. And he's like, I can't promise you that, but I can promise I'll try to convince the boss. So she goes in. It's this gorgeous room that's like mystical. There's air, birds. It's like a little portal thing, like a wormhole, and with a giant forest. She sees like a mountain and all this other stuff. There's a whole ecosystem. She's walking around, and then she's kind of like chilling with the water. She hears feet behind her. And there's like 6 tiny baby dragons running around. But she goes to touch them. They're just projections. They're hope. So then she's like, this is the dream of the last species. And then she turns around. There's a huge dragon looking at her. Coming up from the water. The wings are massive. She can barely, like, its feet are underwater. It has, like, red snake-like eyes, but they seem familiar and warm. She's no expert on the size of dragon, but, based on watching The Hobbit, it's smog-sized. And then she's like,
dragon.
Then it's like, I'm not sure if it's a dragon or a wyvern. The difference is something about the legs and wings, but I never really cared to learn. I never thought I would need this. And then she hears a voice in her head that says, you haven't run yet. And she's like, you're beautiful. And that's a nice thing to say, thank you, but I've never laid eyes on a more beautiful creature either. And she's like, that's an immense exaggeration. I'm just Cat. Do you know why you are here, Cat? It's them, right? This is what you want. And he's like, more than anything, because they were killed off, and he's the last of his species. And he's like, you should know, no human has ever survived mating with a dragon. And he's like, many centuries ago, but it didn't work. Their offspring did gain the ability, like the human died, so they did have a baby. The offspring gained the ability to switch between human and dragon and thus hide in plain sight. So basically that was the first shifter dragon. But eventually people noticed the eggs were too big and they had to be cut out of her. So she's like, that's why I need shape-shifting organs. And he's like, yeah, that and this. And, he makes her bigger again as well, but it's like described as like a tree trunk, like a tree, like tree trunk. And then he's like, I want you to be comfortable and content. I need your full consent. The last thing I want to do is hurt you. And he's like, it's okay. Start whatever you want. And he's like, I've been waiting for so long to do this. And then she's like, what? And then finally she's like, take what's yours, Des. And he like stops and looks at her.
So
she's like, you have the same expression, the same kind eyes. Or did you think you could fool me forever? And he's like, I should have expected as much. And then ta-da. And in the end she wakes up, but it's like 2 months later, and she's massively pregnant because the eggs are growing in her. And they're like, it worked for now. Yeah, like it knocked her out for 2 months. And so she woke up with a massive pregnant belly. But then now, because he's had her, she gets to have him, like, on the regular. So they're kind of like a couple thing. But he also, like, allows her to be with the others. And,
So they
because
have an
he's
open
okay with.
relationship.
Yeah, he, like, lets her get with the other monsters and stuff. And
To be
then,
fair, he's probably like, no one's gonna reach you this far.
and then he was like, they've noticed it worked. You haven't came out of your room since I brought you here 2 months ago. Like, Richard, number 2, and I took turns, and he's like, Medi, that's his name, not number 2. And she's like, okay. The gestation period is quick, so 2 more months and they'll be babies. So 2 more months is finally hatching day. And he's like, I can soothe the pain, you just won't like how. And that's because he's got these weird symbols on his thing that kind of glow and does stuff. And, like, it is like a painkiller or something. And she had to push just once to get the eggs out. And it's 6 little eggs. And then later it's hatching day. But basically there's a lot of changes. They're all, she convinced him to make alterations to the whole facility. And now everybody gets to meet in live in, like, the little last pocket universe he created in the jungle forest. So everyone's a lot happier. And some of the monsters are all having fun with each other. And then they have their little dragon babies. And they're like, you're a shapeshifter now, so you aren't human anymore. No more human lifespan, no more human problems. And then test subject book number 2, I have not finished, but I've started. And they go to, like, this island where they have monster creatures, and you either have to fight them or, like, survive making love with them to win them. And she's like, we need to free the other creatures and help other monsters. And so far from what I'm reading of that one, it is just more insane, wild monster action. And I really don't know what to tell y'all, but, you know, I saw the ad. I had to know. I read it. You're welcome. It was wild.
I feel like I don't have to read it now, and honestly, that makes me
I tried to give y'all the upper level version, but if you go read it, it's like, I don't know if anybody has ever casually watched The Corn online, and they have those weird monster ones on there, and it's like a human body, and it's just everywhere. That's kind of what I feel like this book is like.
I have not, and I'm gonna probably stick to just my books. But
like, I really don't know what to say where we were going with this, because morbid curiosity won out, so I had to read it. And then once I read it, I was like, y'all need to know about this, because this is a definite 5. Like, you can't go and, like, you can't not give it a 5.
I like
and it
how
even
you
has a little bit
of
sweetness.
I like how you brought the 5 on episode 5. I like that little comparison there. But,
that's funny.
Oh my god.
Bro, it's
that was
wild.
A lot.
It was. I was like, okay. I can tell you in the second book, werewolf threesome. And aliens. So the xenobiologist might have been foreshadowing to the extraterrestrial.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. I think you know what the question is. Are they human werewolves?
I am a little confused because it says fingers and it says paws, so I don't know if he shifted midway, but it's definitely another big wolfie. And then they let out a female wolfie. And they kind of share her, and then they kind of have each other, like, all wolfie to wolfie. But then there was, like, an alien, and then now she's about to, there's some other creature. Basically, how it exists on this island is these creatures are here, and that's how you have to win them, but humans are slaves, so she's pretending to be the slave. She also finally gets with Richard, because Richard is apparently even weirder than the other one with his anatomy. It has thorns. So it like locks into place, and it doesn't go typical in and out. It's like an expansion type thing, because the thorns lock it in place.
The locked in thorns actually sound like The Poisoner. That book that
I mean, all I could think of,
but that was his. The thorn part, like the spine part, was like his knot, essentially.
all I could think of as like a farm person is like the spiral animals that have the spiral ones that like lock into place.
Are you talking about ducks?
Ducks, pigs. Like,
yeah, I forgot pigs.
But
cats,
like, you know,
too, don't they?
Cats do something weird too. But I know like ducks,
I know
you
they
know,
have spines and stuff.
like if a duck gets your chicken, it's over for your chicken, is all I know.
Yeah. It'll kill your chicken.
So,
don't have drakes around your chickens.
Don't do it. Free farm advice.
Actually, they'll kill other ducks too.
Free farm advice from the Smut Podcast. We have a little bit of everything.
I have the tism, and she's got the experience.
That sounded weird.
Anyway.
Not like however that was misconstrued. I have unfortunately seen... Did I see it? Was it a duck? I can't remember if I saw a duck violate a chicken or a rooster violate a chicken. Either way, the chicken was not about it, and nobody was helping her, and I was sad.
They both do it, so... Anyway, I think that's enough animal stuff on this episode. If you made it this far...
I'll try to find something squeaky clean for next time.
If you made it this far, congratulations.
Honestly, give yourself a gold star.
Please do. If you'd like to send us some gold stars too.
Give me a gold star.
Not Cecily. Me.
No, I deserve one because I read it. Also, I paid American money for it, so.
You did.
I bought it.
You very well.
Can you imagine the tax write-off on that one? $7.99, or whatever it was. Kindle book.
That's
Test
funny.
subject. Purpose of purchase: learn about tentacles, monsters.
Anyway.
What can I say except
please keep listening. This is not the only stuff we do. This is probably the weirdest. This is the weirdest one we've ever covered.
I know. I think I've won. Although I think I won last time with Milking Farm too. So
no, Milking Farm was sweet.
It was still weird.
Hey, my last one was a sweet one about a raccoon that stole panties and a vibrator. So
this is true.
Anyway, please keep listening. Please don't keep it as weird as Cecily just did. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, or podcasts, and Instagram, where we will give you updates. Please, do not judge us off of this episode. Anyway.
Imagine if this is your first episode.
Imagine. Can you imagine if this is the one that goes viral?
I mean, honestly, it's the most likely to because it's the freakiest one.
This is fair.
I mean, I'm not even dissing the author either. Like, you do you, girl, with your imagination, but it was a wild ride. Pun intended.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna say, so anyway, bye!
Happy reading!